Café and Networking Podcast promotes entrepreneurs, business experts throughout the world. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, podcasting, connecting people from my studio in Brazil. And today we talk with Jennifer Jones, joining us from Goss Moor, England. Jennifer Jones, a published author and expert writing coach, she has taught at universities in the U.S. and the U.K. and now coaches consultants, coaches, and healers to write their credibility-building books. Jennifer's book, There's a Book in Every Expert, That's You, I must say I agree 100%. So Jennifer, what will writing your book do for your business?
Now, the things you usually hear about writing books is that it increases your visibility, establishes you as an expert, and of course it does both of those things. Mm-hmm. But it also helps you get clearer on your message than you've ever been before.
Right.
And it makes you better able to help your clients because you essentially, in the hours that you're writing, you're on your own, coaching yourself through that process. So as you coach yourself, you become a better coach. And you'll find out more about yourself and about how you help your clients through having to write it down and explain it.
And what I found, the longer you live, the more you forget about what the part you've lived. Is that true? So the book will bring that back to you?
It does bring it back to you. It also reminds you of the things that seem natural to you now, mm-hmm. that you had to learn them. Mm-hmm. Because as you teach them to somebody else in your book, you're having to explain how you do those things that you just do. And we forget that we're not born knowing all the things we know today.
Well, actually, when I was born, I didn't know anything.
Well, none of us did.
But to that point, then, obviously there's a structure to doing that, to writing the book. There's a process.
There is. I help my clients focus their topic down to where they can state it in one sentence. Mm-hmm. That's your statement of argument, or for any Americans listening, thesis statement. My countries don't speak the same language. They just think they do. And then we list all of the questions you would have to answer to convince somebody that your statement is true. And then those questions become your outline. So that writing.
Then you start writing, huh?
Yes.
And to that point, obviously, it's not the first time. I think there are revisions, there's rethinking the process. And that's the coaching part, right? Helping people be more clearer in their message.
Yes, I help them get clear. I help them stay focused. Mm-hmm. But the revisions, you do 2 rounds of revisions on your own. Then you send it out to beta readers. You get their feedback. You do more revisions. So you're not sending out your rough draft. Those sort of book in a weekend courses just irritate me because they're basically encouraging people to publish their rough draft. That's not a good look for any business. You want to make sure that you've got your message across before you hit publish.
Well, I think that's a good point that you mentioned. You should, and we should, authors should consider their book as part of the business. It's just not a side thing, right?
Right. And when you write your expert book, the one about how you help people, mm-hmm. that can be sort of an entry-level product so people can get to know you. It's also, when you self-publish, you have total rights over your book. Mm-hmm. That's your marketing material.
Right.
And it's going to be as true today as it will be next year. So you can keep repeating the marketing material because it's still true. And nobody remembers what they read on Facebook last June.
So, yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they don't even get it. But back to the book, it becomes part of your legacy.
Yes. Because then it will be there long after you're gone. But
forever and ever and ever. And that's one of the things I learned once the title is captured, and I'll put it in that sense because it is captured by sites throughout the web, it really becomes a very important part of you as a business. And from the marketing aspect, I have never seen anything comparable to that. Nothing I've ever done has had that much reach.
Yes, and whenever you've got a book, if you're wanting to get your message out through speaking, mm-hmm. the yes rate whenever you propose speaking goes through the roof because they can see that you've thought about what you have to say,
right.
and that you have something significant to say.
Right.
And
well, that happened to me right at launching. Exactly what happened. I was found and invited by a series of, at that time, radio stations, events, conventions that invited me to speak about the book. Nobody really asked what's in the book. They saw the title, so who I was. No, and that's the credibility thing.
That's true, yes.
And they, would like you to speak and talk about the book. And the first time I really hadn't had, let's say, a script together of how do I speak about my book. And obviously having written it and getting the parts, I says, well, then depending on the audience, there are parts that are more interesting than others or may call more attention to. And that's really what helped me develop as a speaker and gain a reach in speaking, which is, I think I found surprising, and I'm sure most people who write a book will as well.
Yeah, that whenever you start with the book, that always surprises the writers. But for any speakers listening who think that you're not writers, there's a book hiding in your signature talk. And I can help you get it out. But you can go either way. So if you're more comfortable with speaking, you can start there and then write the book. But if you're more comfortable on the page, start there and then go to speaking.
Yeah, because it's all communication. Whether you're saying it or writing it and people are reading it, you're reaching in different ways, and different people are reached in different ways. And what I say, whatever we say or do sticks to somebody. We're never sure how or where, but it will stick.
Yeah, and getting your message out there in different media, so speaking, video, podcasts, and books, it increases the chance that the message is going to stick. Because you just see or hear the same thing a few times before they really take it on board. And so having it out there in multiple ways, you're going to reach the same person. And it's going to feel different, even though you're saying the same thing. Or
be referred by other persons who have heard the message or read the book. Very good. So, Jennifer, how can our audience find you?
You can go to my website, which is https, you know the drill, ewc.coach. And if you scroll down to just at the top of the page, you can take a quiz. But if you scroll down past the quiz, you'll see links for speaker, author, and coach. And you can find out what I speak about. You can find out what I've written and get links to my book. And you can find out about my coaching.
Very good. Well, thanks for being part of our show today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and for our audience, again, it's Jennifer Jones, Jennifer. Last name is Jones, Jones. You'll find her on LinkedIn and www.ewc.coach, www.ewc.coach. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information about them on their website, focusmi.com. Thanks for listening until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.